How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Forever Arsenal podcast. Welcome back, Jordan. Welcome back, Lee. Welcome back, James. Two massive back-to-back wins. And it doesn't just stop there. We've got a massive game coming this Friday. We're going to discuss that, but we have to start at the Emirates. A 3-2 win against United. A last-minute winner from Eddie Nketiah. And there's lots to talk about. There's lots to delve into. And we're just going to get straight into it, people, because it was a massive game for us, a massive win for us. It puts us 5 points clear of City again after they closed the gap to 2 points just before our game against Wolves, a 3-0 win. Haaland with his fourth hat-trick of the season, but we lead the way in the Premier League. A few of us went to the game this time round, me, Jordan, and Lee. Obviously, James was at the studio watching it as usual, so... we can all offer our perspectives. Jordan, you did actually.
Hold on a minute, Turkish. Can I just say something here like that? Did you see Jordan?
No.
Did you? Is that what you're doing, Lee? Is that what you're doing?
I do not believe a word this man says. You know what I mean? Like, he was there.
Lee says he want proof.
I would come round and say hello to the guys. You know, but nothing.
Nah, why didn't you come down to the AFTV a bit, Jordan?
You know what? I was with a couple of people, and we had a situation going on that took up a bit of time before the match. And then I'm the kind of person, guys, that when the game's finished, I just want to go home. It was cold. I had stuff to do.
Surprises nobody, Jordan.
I just wanted to go home. So I did think, wonder where those wankers are. But I was like,
you stayed for the winner, though, yeah?
He's the only one that got a train. He's the only one that got a train.
What is this? What's going on here?
Yeah,
I was actually there. And I'm still getting the heat. I can't win.
He was on the 624 from Finsbury Park, going, "Oh shit, Eddie!"
It was the last one.
That's what he done. He drove past it. That dude. Yeah. I was there.
Goal alert on his.
No photos on Instagram. No nothing. No, I haven't seen anything.
Can I just say?
Put that out there. Not a photo. Nothing.
Can I just say to the listeners and viewers of AFTV Forever Arsenal podcast, I was there at the Emirates. I had a thoroughly enjoyable time. I saw our left back, whatever his name is. I saw their right back. I saw the players on the pitch. I had a lovely time. I saw all 5 goals, and I left and went home. Yeah. So. To contrast or to counter Lee's accusation, I was there at the Emirates on Sunday, Saturday or Sunday? Yeah, Sunday. I'm joking.
Yeah. I was there on Saturday, and we got a brilliant win against Manchester City.
It was a great draw.
Whatever his name is.
I heard him.
Yeah.
I heard he walked in, and this is because and he went, "What colour? What team are we? What colours are we playing?"
Yeah.
Are we playing in the away kit?
He celebrated the Rashford goal and went.
Yeah. Oh, that was in the North Bank. Oh, is it us?
This is slander. Where's my lawyer? This is slander of the highest echelons. Where's Sharoy?
Where's Sharoy? You don't need him as a lawyer, I'll tell you. He's excellent.
Well, he got Turkish off, so he can get me off.
If we was to enforce Sharoy's rules, then a couple of people would be dropping a point tonight. I mean,
no names. No names.
Nah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so let's not talk about Judge Sharoy at the moment because a couple of people need to go under the radar.
I just think, like Eddie Nketiah, some of us left it late, but we make the show. So, you just gotta allow it.
Did you, James? Did you celebrate Eddie's goal?
I'll be really honest. I know what you're doing. Because I went 2-2. Yeah, you're funny.
You almost fell for
my actual honest answer. My honest answer was no. I thought it was offside. Like the minute it got to him, I was sat there because everyone went wild, and we were on the information station, whatever shit name we've got for it on the watch along. It was me and Issa, and neither of us. We both looked at each other like that's offside. He looks off, and actually. For what we saw, we were actually right because he was beyond Sandro Martinez. It looked. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka played him on. So obviously at that moment we went mental. And the thing I really loved we didn't have like 4, 5, 6 minutes of agony after that, because I think the referee, recognizing their time wasting and all that, blew up quite quickly. There was about 2 more minutes to play, and then he went, that's it. And I'm delighted, because Bruno Fernandes, disgrace. David De Gea, disgrace. The antics, you know, and we'll go into the whole toe-to-toe thing and how United play, because I do think there's some praise for them. But generally, you know, the way they tried to get through that last, which I understand, they tired, but I'm glad the referee didn't sort of then reward them with like 6 minutes of play after that. He went, wasted your own time.
James, it's a really good point. I'll tell you why, because the logic says that if a team time wastes, that should be added on. And had we not scored the winner at that point, we'd all be saying, well, hang on a minute, there should be 3 or 4 minutes added on. There should be more time added on. But the fact the referee used his discretion, because it's a minimum, it's not a maximum, it's a minimum added time on. The fact the referee used his discretion to say, no, you wasted time, but actually it's going to go against you. I'm going to punish you for wasting time by not adding the 5 minutes on, I thought was brilliant refereeing. Brilliant refereeing.
This is part of eliminating time wasting. I know in the World Cup, a lot of people at first was like, why is it 8, 9, 10, 11 minutes being added on? But that's because a lot of clubs, a lot of teams, national teams, clubs in Europe, time wasting is a big thing. You saw against Newcastle how much of the minutes across the 90 the ball was actually in play, and it it's a disgrace when you really look at it. So I'm glad the referee done that, because now teams, Man United, maybe other teams looking in, they'll think twice about potentially doing that across a 90-minute period.
And us as well, Turkish, and Arsenal too. I think every team needs to be aware now that referees are onto this. And if you time waste, there's a high chance, not always, but there's a high chance it's going to backfire. It's going to backfire. And I think on Sunday for United, it definitely backfired.
Well, let's hope, because was it Anthony Taylor? Was that the ref?
Yeah, I thought he refed it quite well.
No, give him credit. I thought he managed the occasion brilliantly, but also let's hope that is a standard and a precedent set to a degree, and that other refs will learn from that, because it wasn't that long ago against Newcastle, it was a shockingly low amount of added time. So you're right. It's that word discretion. I understand that there's certain rules that need to be followed, almost textbook, but it's the way he kind of understood who had benefited, who had gained from this situation, and managed it accordingly. So
let's start with Eddie. Well, sorry, John, but let's start with Eddie, because we've all mentioned the winner. Obviously, I was at the game, so the first thing I did when I saw the goal go in, because I did look at it and think must be offside, I looked at the linesman, and the linesman didn't put his flag up, and that doesn't tell the whole story, because sometimes the linesmen are wary too. They rely on the VAR to step in. But as soon as I saw the linesman not put his flag up, I started celebrating. And then my friend next to me kind of stopped me and said, listen, this might get checked. And then I calmed myself down. I see the VAR screen come up, and I thought to myself, please let this linesman be right. And then when it got decided that it wasn't offside, the whole place just erupted. The whole place just went off. The atmosphere was great throughout the 90 minutes, but that moment at the end, if people didn't believe before that moment, I saw a lot more people believe after that moment. That's for sure. But let's get into it, because let's get into it with Eddie first and foremost, because I want to ask Jordan now. A few weeks ago, Jordan did mention Eddie scoring the third goal in a victory, not necessarily being the winner, and asking more from him in that sense. This time round, he got the deciding goal. He got us
an equaliser.
He was there at the end of it. So Jordan, let's go over to you first.
I'm glad you started with Nketiah, and I'm glad you've reminded me of that point as well, because it wasn't so much an accusation. It was more a concern. I think he's the sort of striker that would get the third goal in a 3-0 win rather than the first goal, the equaliser, the winner. And the mere fact that he did get the winner in this match and the equaliser in the first half says actually maybe this guy can be, knocking on the door of being one of the best strikers in the country. I'm so happy for Eddie Nketiah, because I don't think anybody, there's a few, but there's not many people, myself included, that genuinely thought he could spearhead the Arsenal attack to a title challenge. Maybe not title victory, but a title challenge. I would go as far to say, guys, if Jesus is fit tomorrow, I'm starting Nketiah. I'm starting Nketiah. Jesus does not walk back into this team. On current form, the way we're going, as far as I'm concerned, Jesus has to work his way back into this team. I heard someone made the point on radio yesterday that I think it was Darren Bent was saying, Eddie Nketiah has probably worked his whole life to be the Arsenal centre forward. He got the big number, he got the big contract, he got a lot of criticism from the fan base and other people as well. He is now doing the business in a team that is winning and doing well. So why the hell should Jesus, who's the glamorous fancy signing, walk back into this team and walk back into being the number one striker? I think it was James said last week that, I think it was you, James, that kind of said who's the better striker of Jesus and Nketiah. I think there's an argument. There's a debate now. I think, and it might sound wild. There's a debate to who is the better striker, and I'm not being what's the words? Recency bias. I'm not just factoring the last handful of games. I wonder if, in terms of out and out goal scoring, Eddie Nketiah is superior to Jesus. I don't think he'll ever be as good a player as Jesus. Jesus can do things with the ball, off the ball, that I'm not quite sure Eddie Nketiah does. Yeah. But in terms of an out-and-out goal scorer, I think there's a genuine case now that he is better than Gabriel Jesus. He will have a dip.
To further add to that point before you continue, I did read recently that per 90 minutes, Nketiah is only second to Haaland in XG. That kind of shows you that he's on the end of things. He's there in the box for these chances, and he's only behind Haaland when it comes to that. I know he hasn't played week in, week out for us across the season, but that kind of proofs in the pudding.
And for me, Turkish, he's got to be in consideration for the England squad call-up. I think you look at the English strikers there are currently, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't get a call-up at the bare minimum. I'd also go as far as to say, I was thinking about this the other day, straight after the game, in fact. I actually think Eddie Nketiah's best game for Arsenal this season was the game where he didn't score. I think Eddie Nketiah's best game was the Newcastle match. I thought in that Newcastle game, he was absolutely brilliant. His movement, his hold-up play, his layoff. He had a couple of good chances that were quite well saved. I thought in that game, he showed me all I need to know about him being a rounded striker. I know he can finish. I know that he can finish. That's not a question for me. My question was, can you hold the ball well? Can you spin well? Can you be a presence? Can you be a nuisance? Do you have the pace to beat a person? And he's answered all of those questions for me. The only one question I have left, there's only one question I have left for Eddie Nketiah. Can you win Arsenal a game when Arsenal are not superior? Can you be the difference in a game where Arsenal are not on top? Do you know what I mean? The top strikers in Premier League history all won their team a game at times when their team was second best. That's the only thing I've not seen from Eddie Nketiah yet. It's all in good being the bad boy striker when your team's on top and playing well. But when you're on the ropes and you're not playing well, can you nick us a 1-0 when actually we can say, you know what, Lee, we weren't good there today, but we got a 1-0. That's the only thing I want to see from Nketiah. But apart from that, Eddie Nketiah was brilliant.
It's hard for him to answer that question considering Arsenal's form in the first half of the season. If I look at the 19 games so far, I only pick out Leeds, probably second half, where I say we wasn't the better team. Aside from that Leeds second half, I think across the other 18 and a half games, Arsenal have been the better team in each and every one of those. Even the Southampton one, the Man United loss, Newcastle at home, games that we've dropped points in, we have been the better team all round. So you are right.
But there will be a game. There will be a game, Turkish, where we're not the better team. And we need him to do something and win the game for us, or get an equaliser. And that game will come.
Is it on him though, or is that what Saka's come up and kind of proven now that
on him?
When it comes to that, when it comes to those clutch moments, I think I'm more looking at Saka, which it can be unfair
forward.
Such a young player.
Eddie delivered in the two most clutch moments of the game, which is we've just gone one down. We've not made a good start. We need to somehow revitalize this stadium. And that header, when he beats Wan-Bissaka to it, that's not easy. The cross from Xhaka, De Bruyne has done that. We are talking about it for days. It is unreal. It's low, it's whipped, it's right on his head. But he's had to work really hard, Eddie, to get around Wan-Bissaka and get his head on it as well. It's just brilliant. It's a brilliant, brilliant goal. Gary Neville said as much in commentary as well. I'm glad it got the praise it deserved. And then, that finish as well from Odegaard, he's had to just instinctively push it back towards goal. There's not a lot of pace to work with. There's not a lot of, it's just guide it into the back of the net and hope it, De Gea doesn't get to it. Those are massive, massive, massive moments. And Eddie stepped up. I couldn't be happier for him, because I wouldn't say, I'm not going to do the whole, I always believed in him. That's not true. But I always felt that he was, some players, I think maybe like the players we love, Martinelli to a degree, he cannot play very well, but fans will focus more on the things he did right in the game. Whereas I think Eddie can play quite well, and people will focus more on things he did wrong in a game.
100%.
And I remember, and I always use this example, Everton last year, we lost 2-1. He came on. He missed that massive chance, and it would have won us the game. I think it was 1-1 at the time. He missed a massive chance. But it kind of went under the radar that he was dribbling past players. He put it on a plate for Aubameyang and Lacazette 3 times and had a massive impact. The only time we looked like scoring was when he came on, and no one talked about that. And I really felt for him. That's when I thought, this guy's going to have to do a lot. I mean, it helps if the team's doing well, but I just felt he has to do a lot more to prove it. And I'm just so happy he's getting not just the recognition he deserves, but the results as well to come with it. 6 goals in 6 games, you said in your fan cam, I think Turkish. It's a really good return. And I don't think Jesus would have given us that return. And just very quickly, so then I'm rambling, but on that Jesus thing as well, you say, Jordan, does Jesus come straight back into this team? He was doing well for Man City out wide last year. I think I love the idea that we could go into a game with Saka, Nketiah and Jesus on the left. Why not? He's got the flair, he's got the pace, he's got the skill, he's got the combination play. Why not? He could play on the right. Oh, hell, actually, we could go Jesus, Nketiah, Trossard, give Martinelli and Saka a rest. I mean, who would have thought? Like, it's amazing what adding a player, I haven't even mentioned Smith Rowe and all that. So it's amazing what adding a player and, others stepping up to the plate can do for the squad.
And I agree with Jordan in terms of, listen, I love Jesus and I love what he brings to the side, but on this form that Eddie's in and the goals that he's scoring, it'd be unfair to take him out as soon as Jesus is back from injury. And I did see a video of Jesus with Khabib and the UFC legend. And Jesus said to him, 4 or 5 weeks it's looking like. So, it seems like it might be sooner than expected, but no one's really thinking about Jesus at the moment.
It's
and
mad, isn't it?
That's testament to Eddie's,
Did you see the comp that went around Turkish on Twitter? It was just reflecting over Jesus's form for Arsenal pre-World Cup. And I mean, even I didn't realize he'd been that good. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I knew he'd been amazing, but I mean, he looked unplayable. Like, he looked like one of the greats. That's, the trickery, the skill, everything. You thought, oh my word. It's like, we've got this guy to come back.
And something, and there was a chance, I think it was the 85th minute, where Eddie should have scored it. It was a clear chance. Eddie should have scored it.
I was going to ask you that, Turkish, as well.
That's
Curtis, sorry, Lee, I know you want to come in there, but Curtis tweeted, I can't work out if Nketiah should score that chance. And I couldn't work. I was 50-50. I was like, it's 6-7 yards out. You got to finish that. Or was it just an insane save? I couldn't. What do you guys think?
You have to finish that. You have to finish that. But I'm not getting on his back about it, because 5 minutes later, 6 minutes later, he pops up in and around the same area and he puts it in the back of the net. And I think Arteta mentioned that in the post-match press conference, where he just keeps on going, Eddie. He doesn't let things affect him. He doesn't let the noise around him affect him. He, if he misses a chance, he'll still be there again for the next chance. And he won us the game. Lee, we haven't heard from you yet.
No, look, good conversation. Like, really enjoying it. Like, listen, Eddie will miss chances. That's what forwards do. It's what you do next on your next one, and that's what I'm a big thing for this. He don't shy away. He doesn't shy away from anything. Criticism, pressure, he's there. I think he's got a little bit of a raw deal, because particularly last season, because he was getting games when Martinelli wasn't. And everybody's going, why ain't Martinelli playing up front? Why, there was a little bit of that. So that's why I think there was a little bit of not bad feeling, but like, there was a little bit of thing with Eddie. I think that then he had the number 14 thing and all that put onto him, and the big contract and all that. I've waved all that away, because I still think You know, if you think about a big contract, yes, he's got that. If we let him go for nothing, we'd have had to have brought in somebody on a lot of money, like a big 20, 30 million pound player to be a backup striker. He's done fantastically well. And one of the things that's just funny enough is I just got off the phone to my brother, of course, and if people don't know, he's a Spurs fan and all that, like, and we're just talking about it, and he goes, you bloody Arsenal, you're so lucky. He goes, you lose your best player and everybody, and then you bring in Eddie and he starts scoring goals. I say, hold on a minute, is that luck? Is that luck? You know what I mean? Or what, like, you know? And it was an interesting thing because I was just like thinking about what he was just saying as he was talking there. That's opposition fans now were not celebrating Jesus was injured or whatever, but what they was actually saying is, oh, that's great now. This is the Arsenal downfall. Oh, bloody hell, now they got that. You know, Eddie's coming in and scored 6 goals in 6 games. Really like forcing it. So everything we're doing is great. And I think Eddie emphasises that and the way that he's gone about things. You know, to me, the Jesus Eddie argument, you know, what will be the greatest compliment I can give Eddie is I think Jesus is our best player. And that day that happened on the 4th of December there, I even know what day it was when I know that he was injured and everything. Like, I was going mad. I hated the World Cup. I don't know. I hate the World Cup. What a sponsor time for everything, like blah, 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 blah. Forward now, I'm actually saying, like, we haven't missed Jesus. And I don't mean that as a criticism to Jesus because, you know, everybody knows how well he's done. I think that's fantastic. James, it's a great point there. When Jesus comes back, one thing we haven't got to rush him back now at this moment in time, like, you know, and then worry about him getting injured down the line. We can ease him back in and then he can play 2 or 3 different positions. And that's the good thing about this Arsenal team at the moment. You know, Martinelli can play a different position. Martinelli, Trossard can play different positions. Jesus can. Even Eddie can, you know. Eddie's played a few games out on the wide, you know what I mean? So they're all comfortable doing a different role. And I'm going to take a little bit of exception to Jordan. You know, like
no surprise.
You're never on to Jordan.
No, I am.
Never, James.
I want to see when we're not playing bad and then like Eddie to step up. No. We play well every game. Every game we play well. And that is what we dominate teams at this moment in time. And when we haven't dominated, we defend well, like, you know what I mean? And we get the goal. And so I don't want to see Arsenal on the back foot and holding on to a 1-0.
No, I don't want to.
Yes, you did. You said it. You said it. I'm not going to go back on it.
No. I said there will be a game where we are second best. And that is the game where I need my striker. Yeah. We might get one chance, and I need my striker to take it. I've seen Man United in their heyday be battered. Van Nistelrooy, one chance, 1-0 win. Same with Arsenal, yeah.
But I don't want, you know, like, you know, and I'm not having a go at you, but this is what everybody says at this moment in time. Oh, I want to see something else from Eddie now. He scored 2 goals against Man United, and like, let's put another thing in front of him now. Like,
Lee,
he's got to score against here.
People are still waiting for Harry Kane to win a trophy, and look what he's achieved in the game.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
You know, there's always be a something.
They're always
when are you going to step up in a big final or a big semi-final? When are you going to? And I get it. So I'm sort of agreeing with you, Lee.
I just think with Eddie though, it's always, you know what I mean. Like, for instance, he did miss that chance, right? Yeah, and everybody's going, oh, he should have scored that. Like, but I've seen Jesus miss chances like that. I've seen Martinelli miss chances like that, as what you said earlier on, James. And they brush it aside. Don't worry, you know what I mean? Like, but with Eddie, oh, he's missed that chance. Oh, he should have scored that. What do you reckon? So Lee, he should have took that chance. So what?
So Lee and James, because I think let's unpack that. Why do we think that Nketiah is judged by a different standard to other people? Why do you think we're a bit harsher on him than we are on other strikers?
I think I've got a few answers. Okay,
go on, because I'm interested in this.
First, I think it's because he is an academy player, and almost unless they hit the ground running, you know, Jack Wilshere kind of mesmerized us all immediately, didn't he? Fabregas came in and hit the ground running. And I'm getting messages, but I don't know where they're coming from. Sorry, I'll mute that in a sec.
Saka and so on.
Yeah, they came in and kind of immediately had an impact. With Eddie, it's taken time. And so because he didn't cost 30-40 million, you don't have that subconscious, I really want this to work. And he's had a slow start or whatever. I think there's a part of that. I also think
sorry, before you get to number 2, sorry. Is that true though? Because I remember Nketiah coming into and Eddie Nketiah came in.
He scored 2 against Norwich, but otherwise I don't think he did a lot.
Smith Rowe gets let off on things.
Smith Rowe came in and
he gets left off things because of his
no. Smith okay, Nketiah came in and scored 2 against Norwich, but then we didn't really see a lot of him after that. And it was sort of once Arteta came in, we started to see a lot more of Eddie Nketiah. Okay. And even though he was kind of scoring in cup games, it was the impact in the league and all that. And he was doing okay, nothing amazing. But Smith Rowe came in and he was a first choice. He came in against Chelsea, turned things around, kept Arteta in a job. Bukayo Saka came in and was scoring goals in Europa Leagues away to Frankfurt and, racking up assists and slotting at left back. He was part of the first team. I don't think Eddie, until really now in the end of last season, ever got a run in the first team. So I think that's a part of it. I think the other thing is that also stylistically as a striker, I think people have struggled to place him and understand exactly what he is because he's not 6'3", like towering striker. He's athletic, but he's not like Jamie Vardy in behind quick. He's not kind of got that Aguero Suarez close control. So is he a bit of a poacher? But poachers have kind of been out of fashion in the game recently. It's more, you've got to be a complete striker who adds to, all these facets of play. So I think for a while people struggled to understand exactly what Eddie does and then everything I mentioned before. Now, I don't think that's necessarily right. I think people should be looking beyond that. But I think that's mainly why people haven't really given him the credit at times.
I think the biggest thing for me is up until the contract, I didn't see enough of him. And then when he signed the contract and he goes on to higher wages, then a Saka, then a Martinelli, and he gets the number 14 shirt, expectation rises. And I think that's right. Once that comes in, once a new contract comes in, I'll use the Mesut Ozil example. Completely different players at completely different ends of their career. I used to say, prior to Ozil's contract, we let Ozil down. We didn't build around him adequately enough. We didn't, build on his pros. We didn't have a striker in behind him. As soon as he signed that contract for 350K, whatever it was, I said to myself, listen, this man has signed that contract now. That contract is for a star man. Now, in comparison to Eddie's, obviously Eddie's contract is for a backup striker to Jesus, who came in shortly after him. But because I hadn't seen him perform at that level that I thought he deserved that contract, deserved that number, there's been a lot of doubt around it. Now, Lee's right. There is still people out here. It's the same with Arsenal. The next test is Man City. Or April. Look at the run of fixtures. That's the big test for Arsenal. There's always going to be people out there that you knock down targets, they'll set up another target. And to be honest with you, sometimes that's motivation. I even look at Eddie's improved performances, and I think he's used that doubt. He's used the criticism, and he's built himself a stronger character. A better player has come from it. So I think it can work as a pro as much as sometimes it can work as a negative.
Do you know one thing I think with Eddie, and I'm just thinking about it now, like, do you know when he hasn't got anything that really excites you, but he does everything well.
Yeah.
For instance, Martinelli's got like blistering pace. He's got pace, but it's not blistering. It's not exciting pace. I look at players like Saka, has got exciting skills, drop the shoulder.
He can beat a man. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not. But he does everything well, and I just think that maybe that's it. I just don't think he's got like Jesus is explosive and goes around players, and he's an exciting player to watch. I don't think Eddie is an exciting player to watch, and I don't mean this critically.
Sensing where the ball's going to go, which I do believe is a thing.
Yes, listen, it's no coincidence, James, that he's the one that gets the touch. If he doesn't get that touch at the end, but he's there, isn't he? Like, you know what I mean? But it's a gift, but it's not an exciting. I don't know. I just don't know why there is that little thing. I like Smith Rowe, the way he drops his shoulder and goes past players. There's an excitement about him, like, you know what I mean? Saliba, there's something about. I don't know. With Eddie, maybe it's that, you know what I mean? That's why people don't give him the flowers he deserves.
we've just been very complimentary about Eddie Nketiah, and rightfully so for a lot of the show. Can I just flag 2 players that I thought disappointed me on the weekend, Turkish?
Oh, too early for that. Too early for that. We still got
too early for that.
We haven't talked about Zinchenko.
Oh, sorry.
How you moving straight on to the 2 players?
No, you're right. Sorry. Carry on.
I'm not going to make any Edison jokes, but I do want to ask: was Kyle Walker still talking rubbish when he said that he was one of the most technically gifted players at Man City?
You asking me?
I am, my friend.
No, and he's asking about Zinchenko. Yeah.
Can we just be very clear? Can we be very clear about what it is I actually said, James? I didn't say
you got the power to know. You're indestructible.
Always believe it.
I never said he wasn't technically gifted. I said the statement that he was one of the most gifted was a stretch. I.e., I could name, even take out Edison, I could still name 5 players in that Man City squad. I mean, I put him in there, but take him out. There's still 5 players ahead of him in that squad who, for me, are technically more gifted than Zinchenko. However, what I will say is, what I will say is, watching him up front and close and personal, he is more gifted than I thought he was. I will say that. He's definitely better than I thought he was on the ball. But I know he's not gifted. I just said there's other players. De Bruyne is more technically gifted. Silva is more gifted. Edison, I stand by that. Technically more gifted as well. Who else in the Man City squad? Foden is technically more gifted.
To say this and need everybody to know this. When Spurs got their 4th goal, he's in the WhatsApp group. Is that an Edison assist? Is it like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Come on, he's desperate for it. Is that an Edison assist?
I need something, Lee. Give me something. I need something, Lee. I need something.
Yeah. Was that the one that was a shit touch by Lenglet?
Yeah. He's got Edison. He's got an assist from Edison. Unbelievable, his fantasy team as his captain as well, it's ridiculous.
Anyway, Zinchenko.
Go on, Jordan. I'll let you take it away.
No, Zinchenko was absolutely, and I play camped him for about half an hour. He on the ball. I'll all jokes aside, he is more gifted on the ball than I thought he was. Very, very talented, very, very comfortable, and knows what he's doing. He knows what he's not just guessing or blagging it. He knows where he wants the ball to go and what he wants to do. So 100%, he was brilliant on the weekend as well. I won't spend too much long on Sack. I would give man of the match to Nketiah personally. I just think that what he did and his overall play, I thought warranted. That was a big win for Arsenal. That's a big win, and to do it in that fashion, I thought I thought warranted that. I thought there were other. Zinchenko was brilliant. He was a candidate for man of the match for sure for me. Saka, I'll let the guys talk about him because I can't chat about Saka anymore. The guy's he's just on another level. So I can't go there anymore. And I thought most of the team were good. I thought the game as a whole, just briefly, Turkish. I thought the first 10 minutes we were good. As always, we came out the blocks fast. Partey almost scored in the first 2 minutes of the game. We started really, really well. And then we kind of just dipped a little bit. And I thought we let Man United slightly into it as well. I thought the Rashford goal was brilliant. I'll go to it early, but I thought one of my 2 players that I'm disappointed in, and I've been waxing lyrical about this player for the last... I am. I've just got to get off my chest. Sorry. Let me go. Let me go. The first one was Tommy.
Can we try and have a guess then? Let's try. Who do you think is gonna? Because I can't think of 2 players I was disappointed in.
No, I can. No, I was
going to go Martinelli. He's going to go
Martinelli. Martinelli was trash. I'm sorry. He was so bad. He was very bad.
Switch him off.
Really?
Off, will we?
No, he was really bad. Below a 5 out of 10.
Jordan on this one.
He was bad.
I wouldn't say trash because I thought second half he did a lot more.
His decision making that first half was shocking.
Defender in Wan-Bissaka. I thought that was an intriguing battle, the pair of them.
The whole game, I just thought his decision making was awful. He played nervous. He was playing nervous. I just thought he was so bad. The minute Trossard come on, he makes an impact. I love Martinelli, but I thought he was awful. on Sunday. And I don't think it was awful, but a player that let me down was Tommy P. I thought Partey gave the ball away so much. First half, I thought it was bad. Second half, slightly better. And I love Tommy P, but I thought he wasn't great in the game as well. I thought there were two before. Saliba, at times, wasn't as authoritative as I think he's been, but he's a young player.
Different Saliba now, by the way.
A little bit.
I think that he's had that fourth card on him.
Oh, you think that's what? Okay. Okay, maybe.
Different Saliba now.
Maybe.
Listen, can I just say something about Jordan, right? I'm going to have to say it now.
What now?
I'm getting it out, like, you know what I mean? Martinelli, like, after his performance on the super fan debate, you know what I mean? When he said, get me on there, get me on there. Oh, these Man United fans, like, he started tickling their little tummies, those Man United fans, like, you know what I mean?
But hang on a minute. Let me ask all of you guys. On the day, who was better, Rashford or Martinelli?
Rashford was better on the day.
Right.
In the first half he was, because I thought Ben White's worst game, by the way. But I'm saying you this now. Wan-Bissaka,
Martinelli's good.
and Martinelli, it was a fascinating contest. And do you know what won it for the end when Trossard come on? He was shattered. Wan-Bissaka was shattered. He had to really defend. He had to defend well, last minute tackles. I thought Martinelli weren't at his best, but the reason was because he was nullified. I will say this on the other side, everybody going on about Luke Shaw, how good he was a different kettle of fish. I just think at this moment in time that Saka's got a little bit more to his game, he's got a few more tricks down his sleeve. He caused him all sorts of problems, but I don't think Martinelli was awful.
You know what it was?
I do.
I think ultimately, Martinelli, the work rate was still there, still pressing, still tried things. I admire his bravery so much. This guy, and let's forget the jump he made when he first came to Arsenal. And he actually had a long-term knee injury when he was very young. And he took his time getting into this team. I love him. And he's been one of our best players this season. But I do agree with Jordan. I thought that first half was strikingly poor from him in a sense that I thought his decision-making was really off. I thought he wasn't passing when he should have. You're right. That battle with Wan-Bissaka was interestingly. But he was sort of slowing up so much, wondering whether he could go round. And by the time he decided he wasn't going to, the pass was off. Now, second half, I thought a lot better. Decision-making was quicker. Wasn't trying to take him on as much, but I thought generally looked a bit more tenacious and at it. But that's fine. But that is absolutely fine. We're talking about young players. That's why we wanted Leandro Trossard or a player of that ilk, so that it wasn't always a case of relying on Martinelli.
And the comments will come from me. I want to be clear. I'm not saying that I don't like. I'm not saying Martinelli's trash. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I'm saying on this game, and maybe it's the standards he set in the last few months, but in this game, I thought he was a 4 out of 10, and that for me is trash. That for me
I
is
still
not.
think his potential is as good as Saka's. Personally, I think they're both.
Maybe
could go equally as far for me.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Goals come from the left-hand side. Don't come from the right match that much, do they? And I'll tell you something else. I will say this, right? And I'm gonna flag up there because Gabriel doesn't get the plaudits that he deserves because of when you have Zinchenko goes all over the place, right? Now I'm not criticising that, but he does. He goes into the midfield and all that, so there is a little bit more of a job that Martinelli has to do to cover the defensive side of that, because there's big holes, and Gabriel has to do it as well.
Fair point.
Which doesn't get flagged up as much. Like on the right hand side, Saliba's always got Ben White keeping it in there, and Saka doesn't have to do that real dogged defending and bust gutting runs to get back because Ben White's there. Where on the other side, there were times on Sunday, there's no one there, and Martinelli has to be cautious of that at times, particularly in the second half when he's got Arteta telling him to get back on whatever. I don't think it gets that's a point, but Gabriel has to cover a lot of ground. I noticed that on Sunday, has to cover a lot of ground defensively.
On that note, you reminded me, because I don't disagree. I wouldn't say Partey had a bad game. I just wouldn't say it's one of his best. But there was one moment that
when he covered. I know
one moment doesn't make a 90. It doesn't make a game. It doesn't make a performance. But He just outpaced 2 Arsenal players and just moved to Anthony, won the ball off him. Yes, it's a poor touch from Anthony, but that's the desire that I want to see. And he showed it. He gave the ball away a couple of times in the first half, but
it was like Turkey. Someone was playing PlayStation. They just double tapped X, and he just freakishly just like zoomed past everyone. It was amazing. I think the game itself, it was they called it a throwback to the days where Arsenal and United really had ding dongs, and it was a really enjoyable game from that point of view. But I think the result aside, and I think Man United played better than I thought they would. By the way, I thought United, I think the better team won, and I think a draw wouldn't have been a fair result. But I think that Man United contributed to the match as well. But I think the biggest thing for me that took, and I walked out the ground because I was there, Lee, on Sunday after the final whistle, was that I just had joy, not only because we won the game in the last minute, but I feel like, and it's a phrase we kind of got mocked for a couple of years ago, but I genuinely feel like we've got our Arsenal back. I really, really love the fact that we won that game and we're winning games the way that Arteta wants to play football. We didn't score the winner by lumping it forward, a flick on, and someone just toe poking it in. Well, it was a toe poke, but it wasn't a flick on. We stuck to how we play football. I'm really happy about the football I'm watching and the fact that Mikel Arteta is not prepared to compromise on anything. I think, and I could be wrong here, Mikel Arteta is very much like Pep Guardiola in that he would rather draw 2-2 the right way playing football than win the game with some Sam Allardyce type football. I think the fact that we are sticking to the principles the manager wants, I think is something that I'm so proud of my team about. I just walked out there thinking to myself, whether we finish first or second this season, I've got my team back. I've really got my football team back. The fan base were just the joy, the hugging, the singing, the atmosphere, the noise, the camaraderie. Seeing Zinchenko, I'm not one for this beating chest and screaming and passionate. I think passion and character are the two most overused words in football. But just seeing Zinchenko and what it meant to him, by the way, a multiple title winner, just made me feel like we have got our club back. We've got players that really are fighting to bring the Premier League back. It's 20 years. 20 years, Turkish. It's a long time. We've been a banter club. Let's be real. Yeah, we've been a banter club for most of that time. But the fact now we've got a team that we enjoy watching play football. We enjoy their personalities. Even silly things like our kits and our jackets. We look good. We look good. Do you know what I mean? We've got a team that I'm like, that's my football team for too long, guys. I was embarrassed, but to be an Arsenal fan, I was. We were mocked, and I just thought the win was amazing, and in a league context is important. But for me, what's just as important is, and what I was in that ground like, yes, this is what I paid my money for. This is what we wanted. Sorry, I'm on an emotional one there.
No, you're right. It's an occasion to go to the Arsenal now. Like I'm going to say this now. I've not seen nothing like it before. Of all the times that I'm supporting. We went a goal down in that game, and you think, there is that thing of, oh no, but there's people around you that don't make you to stop you thinking that. Everybody roaring up, right? You've got to get it. It's no coincidence, guys, that 6 minutes later we're level. You know what I mean? That is something. The players telling the fans to respond. Like Mikel Arteta telling the crowd to get up for it. Not that they needed telling, but it just tells you, like, it gives you a responsibility. Look. The players are telling us that we're important. Players are telling us to get up. The manager's telling us to get up. So you feel part of it, like, at the end of the game, I know that the tubes were on. There was a bit of thing with the tubes and all that. I forget about that. I think everybody would have stayed anyway. I looked up. They had the Saka Smith Rowe song going. Yeah. People up in the top tier all singing and dancing. People in the corporate and in the boxes outside singing and dancing. You know what I mean? Like, it was wonderful. It is wonderful what you're seeing at the moment. Like, it is a pleasure to go over to the Emirates. I remember we beat Tottenham last week, and I couldn't wait till this Sunday. And when I get there and afterwards, I can't wait now to get up to Manchester. Like, you know what I mean? But the whole atmosphere and everything like that doesn't disappoint. And the fans make me as a fan feel part of it. I feel responsible.
Can Can I give some credit to Mikel Arteta now? Because we're 19 games, so we're
Please.
officially at the halfway stage, 50 points on the board. We're 19 points away from last year's tally that nearly got us Champions League football, by the way. And it's everything you've just said about sort of the embracing of the fans and bringing everyone together. There've been a lot of like little symbolic things that Arteta has done that I think have just signified a little bit of a new era and a changing of everything. It starts with the bringing in of that song that is sung, the North London Forever one that is sung at the beginning of games. And it gives everyone, whether you love it or not, I'm sure most people do love it. It's at least giving everyone a sense of togetherness. Just as the ball's about to kick off, we're all sort of singing together, we're all in harmony, all that. You've got the new designs going around the stadium, which I think is important. I think it's a little thing like it's just rebranding the home now. Again, Emirates, a place that used to be easy to play at. They used to be, maybe quieter than other grounds. That was what other fans would say. Now it's loud. Now it's a fortress. Now it's a place where we're undefeated this season. And then I was listening to Fabregas on Sky Sports. I don't know if you guys have gone back and seen the punditry after.
My mate Fab.
Your mate Fab, who was a big fan of the. Oh,
Did he mention Forever Arsenal?
He said say highly. He said to you especially. He said say hi.
Yeah. He was on Sky and he said that he was obviously recently doing a little bit of. He was invited to do a bit of coaching or something behind the scenes, and he said that Arteta apparently has an empty Premier League trophy or something. That
cabinet.
Was that what it was? What was
trophy
it? Sorry,
cabinet. It's a trophy cabinet.
Is that what it was? Oh, I thought it was like some minute. Okay, so I didn't quite hear him, but cabinet, fine. And essentially, they want to fill it, and it's little messages like that. And there was a picture that went round after North London derby of a word. I can't remember the word that was, in the changing room. And apparently, there's lots of these words and things sprinkled around the ground that are and around the training centre that are about sending positive messages all the time. And then you sort of see, just at the Emirates as well, the engagement with the crowd, like you said, all these things I think are really subtle things that are just adding and adding and adding, topping up a little bit every single time. And I just think Arteta deserves so much credit for what he's done to just add. He added Vieira, Saliba came back from loan, Jesus and Zinchenko, and he's propelled us from maybe top four, but a point tally that probably didn't really deserve it, to we are on a run that mirrored what Klopp and Man City, what Klopp's Liverpool and Guardiola's Man City did at their best. Yeah, that's unreal.
The problem is gone. Sorry, go on.
On top of what you just said about Fabregas, he also mentioned something else. He mentioned how when Fabregas walked into the training area and the facilities, how much they've changed over the years, and how when he spoke to staff, they said, "Listen, 90% of this is because of Mikel Arteta." Now I've given credit to the Kroenkes for remaining, behind Mikel Arteta through a couple of the toughest times being an Arsenal fan, and you look at the back end now and credit to them for it. But hearing that in the background too, and you compare that to Ronaldo's comments to Piers Morgan about Man United and the lack of investment in the back end, in the back room and the training facilities and so on over the last 15, 20 years, I'm so glad to hear that, because Mikel from top to bottom in this club has pretty much changed it all.
Yeah. They need to bring Fabregas into me, inform me to the club in some kind of a role, because I always thought he's one of the biggest and best brains in football. Whenever I hear him do punditry, he's always really, really good. I think as a player, you could see that, the only thing that was maybe lacking was pace, but I think his ability, his vision, his passing ability kind of got him to where he got in the game. I just think it's a no-brainer to try and, when he retires, to bring him in. To I think he's still playing. Was it for an Italian team?
Como in Serie B, I believe. I mean, what a life! I think he would love this Arsenal, because I was listening to Monday Night Football. Great analysis by Carragher on the win, and Carragher, shortly after Gary Neville said that there were shades of Wenger, they're playing through the lines and the fullbacks overlapping. Carragher went to say that while the positional play is very Guardiola, the frantic starts, the goals from wide, all that is very Klopp and Liverpool. I mean, who would have known? We've got Monday Night Football sitting there saying that this team has shades of Wenger, Klopp and Guardiola. But, you know, what I liked is that Fabregas, and I know we've talked to us a lot Turkish, has always said that he doesn't like how almost robotic the game's become, very overcoached in attack and stuff. But I think this Arsenal team do have immense fluidity. That was my word of the week with Matisse on DR Sports Talking Tactics. Because when we get that equaliser, it's Martinelli who's moved up front in the box. It's Zinchenko's moved into the 10 space with Odegaard, and it's Xhaka playing left wing to cross the ball. But they all know where to be. I'm with you. I know not everyone, Fabregas isn't every Arsenal fan's favourite, and I understand, but he still has my heart, and I'd love to see him at the club in some way.
I think that's a great point, James. Great point. And you from there, Jordan. I think Fabregas could be a very, very important part of everything, because he's one of those players that's come through the ranks, done everything like that, knows what it's like, and also, which is very, very poignant, is that he knows what it's like to leave Arsenal and then go on and then come back now as he is. And he's always been very, very like, Arsenal's my team, Arsenal's my love, despite going to Barcelona. So maybe like the grass wasn't greener. Should I have done this? Should I have done that? Maybe I was wrong. I think he has admitted that he wanted to come back. I think that he has said that. So all the things that a young kid, a real player is going to go through and has gone through, he's done all of that. And maybe it'd be a very, very good thing. I'm a big fan of Fabregas. I think like one of the best players I've ever seen.
I love him. I agree. Just finally, I know we've got to move forward, Turkish, but I think just a couple of things on the game itself to wrap it. I think Ramsdale. Sorry, go on, Turkish. Go on.
Sorry, because we're talking about Mikel Arteta, and it's back to the game on this. I think quite often we talk about Mikel when it comes to substitutions and potentially being slow. But look at this game against Man United. At half time, Ben White's got a yellow card. He brings in Tomiyasu. That's testament to the squad depth we're slowly building. And then Trossard's introduction came at what seemed like, looking back, the perfect time. Wan-Bissaka was tired, dropping deeper and deeper, and Trossard's fresh legs come on and cause problems.
Brilliant point.
I think you're totally right, Turkish. I think there's more to the Ben White thing than just he was on a booking. I don't know what, but I think he was.
He wasn't quite at it, was he?
He wasn't.
Something was wrong.
He wasn't. Something was definitely wrong there. So I think that wasn't just. Sorry.
Oh, you responded though, Arteta. Yeah. No, sorry. Carry on. I was sort of saying it under my breath.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't think that was just he's on a booking, because you don't sub your yellow carded player at half time. That felt to me like
you do against the Rashford, who's in form and who can, one jink and it can cost you a man on the pitch. So you might be right. There might be more to it, but at the same time, when you've got adequate backup like a Tomiyasu, you're not too fearful of that change. You're not too fearful. Tomiyasu's first 5-10 minutes, I think he was caught cold a bit. I think Rashford,
they weren't good. They were not good.
But then the last 30 minutes of the game, Rashford only had 3 touches. In the last
he was brilliant. I thought it was a fantastic decision. Why can't I don't know whether he was injured or not. I think it was a fantastic decision. Yeah. How many times have we said, "Oh, get Xhaka off now? He's on a yellow card, and he gets sent off, and then before the horse is bolted." I thought that was a fantastic decision from Arteta. And this is what. I've criticised Arteta in the past, but give him praise when he does things well. And that, I think, was fantastic. I brought it up with my fan camp. I thought that was fantastic managing. I really did. I thought the substitutions were spot on.
I've just noticed this is the first show we've done since we've signed 2 blokes. We've got Trossard and Kivior through the door.
Can I just, before we get to the transfers, sorry.
Kivior.
Yeah,
just before we get to that, I wanted just to big up Ramsdale for what was that save from Ramsdale in the second half was absolutely unreal. It was important. That goes in a bit like Spurs, but I think it was Kane or was it Son had a chance at 1-0. Sessegnon. Sorry. Anyway, one of those fools. If they score that goal, it's potentially a different game. And that save from Ramsdale, I just thought not only was it a brilliant look at it properly, it's a brilliant save, but it's an important save as well. So let's give Ramsdale some props for that as well. And we had some fun on the old fan debate, myself, Lee, and Robbie last week with the United boys. But it was a really important win for us. If we'd have drawn that game, I would have been a bit pissed, but we played well. You move on to it. So for my rep, I was talking a lot of big talk last week, so we had to win that game.
You did.
I was talking a lot of big talk. I was talking about 3-0 slappings. So was I.
Hey, I was on camera with him.
Oh yeah, I forgot you were there. Yeah. So it was a big win, but I think now as we move forward, we've come through 3 big games: Newcastle, Spurs, and United, and got 7 points. Now we kind of move into what you like, easier run of games. Although I hate that kind of phrase, but these are the games now where maybe we've got Everton in the league next. They're managerless at the moment. These are games we're expected to win. For me, the season starts now. We are favourites for the Premier League. We are the Premier League favourites are Arsenal. We're the favourites. So now there's a different kind of pressure. It's not, Arsenal are punching above their weight. Can they reel in City? We are now the team to be hunted. And these are the games where United won't, Everton won't push up on us. Wolves won't. They will sit deep. We've got to find a different kind of way to beat different opposition with a different kind of pressure. So for me, the season starts now because City are going to come for us. So we've got to be ready and we've got a buffer. I keep talking about protecting the buffer. We've got a nice little buffer, but that buffer can go very, very quickly if we don't realign what we need to do now. These aren't big fancy games against Spurs and United and Newcastle. These are games against mid-table to bottom of the table teams that will pose different problems. Can we overcome that? Can we get to 10 games to go and still have a chance of winning the title? Can we ride that pressure? And I'm fascinated to see if we can. Now we are the team to beat if we can deal with that kind of pressure.
We'll see. Only time will tell.
Everton's not going to be easy now, by the way.
Nah, new manager bounce.
Yeah,
maybe.
Listen,
always happens with the Arsenal. That does, what I mean. Over the year, even when we was a really brilliant side, if you go back in history, we've always played against a lot of teams with their own managers bounce. So we're going to have to deal with that, which is not going to be easy. And then Brentford at home's not going to be easy. I see that.
Lee,
that's going to be an interesting game because that's 4 days before we play Man City. So do we play a bit more, rest a couple of players for where, or do you go for it? There's every game now.
The cup.
I disagree. Go full strength Friday. Let's go for it. Let's go punch and punch. See what we got.
But
Lee, let me just say, when we were crap, when Arsenal was shit, every game was a tough game for obvious reasons. We were shit.
Yeah.
I don't know about you now. Every game is a tough game because I'm exhausted, everyone. Is it just me who's heading every ball, kicking every ball with that team? I feel
what we want, James.
Every throw we don't win, I'm like, oh. It's like, I mean, I don't know.
It's what we want, I actually...
I'm shattered.
I was talking to Julian earlier on, and it's true, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to enjoy every bloody moment of this because this is what I've been craving for so many years and probably doing my nut and being angry and whatever about Arsenal over the last sort of 10 years because I wanted this. And now I've got it. I'm not going to say, well, I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to go to Manchester City, like, you know what I mean? I can't wait for Everton, like, you know what I mean? Bring it on that Manchester City game. I want that Manchester City game. My God. I am buzzing for that game, like, you know what I mean? But we've got to take business before that, like, every game's special now. Where in the past, James, we played Arsenal, Chelsea. We won at Chelsea 4-2 a couple of seasons ago. It was great, but it weren't nothing really on it, or there was something on it, or whatever. But now, you get a result against that Man United game, bloody everything on it. It's fantastic. I love it. I'm soaking it up. I am a human sponge when it comes to the Arsenal at the moment. I'm soaking it all up.
We're going to get into the Man City one. Just before we do, because James did mention 2 signings since the last show. I'm not going to dwell on the 2 signings because I think, overall we're happy with the 2 signings and what they're going to bring, the positions they're going to play. Do we need to do more is the question.
Yes.
Because Partey positions in particular, I think when he says one more, I assume you mean a midfielder at 8 or 6, yeah?
Yep.
Midfielder makes it a 10 out of 10 window, but when I look at the whole squad, I think we're very well equipped now. I think when you look at the fact that, okay, you brought in a left-sided centre-back, so okay, well that means Zinchenko can, Robbie's going to laugh, but Zinchenko can slot into midfield if you have to. We've got a lot of depth in that area. Smith Rowe can drop into midfield if you have to because you've got Trossard now. Nketiah's playing brilliantly. Jesus to return. I think at the moment it's been like an 8 out of 10. I didn't think we'd do even this much. After Mudryk, I thought that's it. I don't think we're bringing anyone in. I thought all eggs were in that basket, but they responded really quickly. Two good players. Kivior, I think, well, from what I've been told, sounds like a really good player. Trossard, I love that guy. Even though it felt a little underwhelming because of the whole Mudryk thing, whatever, I love the way he plays the game. And I'm happy about that. I think it's good for squad depth. And yeah, one more makes it perfect. One more.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been linked to Moises Caicedo, which I think would be very hard to do this window, but Amadou Onana as well of Everton. I like that profile because Onana, 6'4", can play in Partey's position, but has really been deployed.
But can he?
I think he
feels a bit more of a goal threat midfielder than a kind of box to box.
He's a good ball carrier. He's a dribbler. He's a good ball carrier for sure. But I think he has played in the 8. And when you got El Neni as well, cool. That's just another option. So I'm in favour of. I'm absolutely in favour of these names being said. Got one more.
A little bit of breaking news. I can give you a little bit of exclusive if you like.
Go on then.
Oh, go on.
El Neni's injured at this moment in time. Nothing to know about on the transfer.
That's worse than the fucking Fabregas thing that Jordan said. I've got some news. Fabregas is a big fan.
Well, I've been a little bit worried about El Neni because there's been a lot of transfer talk. And I still think he's got a vital role to play in games for us. You know what I mean? Like Europa League and other games, you know. And I was a bit worried, like, you know what I mean, that he's not involved in the same like Cedric. And there's a bit of rumours flying around that he's going to be sold and all that, like, you know. But I can confirm it's an injury.
Well, thank you for explaining.
Thank you, Lee. Yeah, thank you.
Our player who was inexplicably left out of the team, not on the bench, and was watching, you know, with his jeans and jacket on the side, was actually injured. So thank you.
All right, well, on that note, we move on to Man City, and the question was full squad or rotation, and hearing El Neni is injured doesn't bode well for a certain position that I think we need some more depth in, because I don't really want to see Thomas Partey picking up any what I'd call unnecessary knocks or injuries in a game. I love the FA Cup. Listen, the FA Cup goes way back for me, but this season in particular, it does look like we've got bigger fish to fry at this moment in time. And there is a big.
You're changing your tune now. 2 months ago, you all loved the FA Cup. Oh no,
I do love the FA Cup. Can you just hear me? Can you just hear me?
Flip flops
season. But when it comes down to it, no, you know what? Bin it. Yeah.
I prefer not to speak.
No, I'm not saying. Listen, I love the FA Cup, but when you're sitting top of the league, when you're still in Europe, and you've got Man City away. I know we've been the better team this season. You know, we have been the better team. Pep Guardiola said we're the better team, whether he's using that as incentive to lift up Man City or not. It is facts. We have been the better team this season. Squad depth compared to Manchester City, that's what lets us down. Hence why we talk about certain positions, injuries, and whether we need another body in the transfer window. Now, there is a gap between Man City and then the midday Everton game, a 7-day gap. With the El Neni news, on top of how I'm feeling going into that game, I wouldn't mind seeing squad rotation. I wouldn't mind seeing Trossard start. Jakub Kiwior, it's not like he's coming in and he's 18. He's a 22-year-old Polish international. He played all the games at the World Cup for them. He's experienced enough, in my opinion, to maybe protect Gabriel a bit more than we have done this season. So I'm going to answer my own question before I ask you guys. I want to see a squad rotation this Friday against Manchester City. A bit of the first team and a bit of the backups. Lee, let's go to you next.
Yes. I want to say, I hear what James saying, go strong. They're not going to go strong, and nor are we, like, you know. I look at this at two advantages. If we win this, fantastic. If we don't win it, it's an extra game for Manchester City. It's a good thing. But I'm looking at this also on the bigger picture. If I had a thing to one, you know, if I was to say bin in one of them, I would probably bin the Europa League. But because it's that sort of Thursday, Sunday thing, you know what I mean? Like, not so much time things. But for me, look, Smith Rowe, where do you play Smith Rowe in this game? For me, we've got Trossard now.
Sorry to cut you, Lee. James had a good game the other day. Why don't we go through the 1 to 11? Who we'd pick?
All right, I'll go first then. I'll go first.
Yeah.
Turner in goal is what I'll go with. Tomiyasu.
I agree.
Rob Holding.
Agree.
The new what's the new fella? Jacob. I like that.
Yeah, go with that.
Tierney. Elneny if he's fit.
Well, your source just said he wasn't.
Well, he's injured at the moment. He might be fit this week. I don't know.
You dropped the world's worst exclusive.
I was worried about him going on a transfer. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean?
I've got some exclusive news.
Right.
Arsenal might win, or might lose, or might draw on Friday.
I can bet. I can bet that. I got some breaking news. Turkish is wearing a cap.
I've got some breaking news. I've got no tracksuit bottoms or pants on underneath here.
Jesus Christ!
What is going on in this podcast? What is going on?
So no, I would then go with let's get
breaking
back to
news.
sensibility.
Lee's got a little one down there as well. Sorry.
I am going to put Smith Rowe into the 8. I want to see if he can play that role. So I'm going for Smith Rowe and Vieira. Free up front. Trossard.
Martinelli. Martinelli. Pick up his game. He had a poor game against United.
Probably Martinelli and Eddie. I'm still going to go strong with my front three.
Who's your front three? Sorry, Trossard, Martinelli, Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I go next?
Go on, you go.
No, go on, John.
No, you go.
That is very rotated, Lee. I'm going Turner, Tomiyasu, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko. Then I'd go Odegaard, Partey, Xhaka. And then I'd go Martinelli and Nketiah, Trossard.
That's very strong.
So just leaving Saka out?
Saka and White. And Ramsdale.
Ooh.
If Elneny were fit, I would put Elneny for Partey, but I don't think he will be. But yeah, why not? Let's have some fun. Why not? Let's go for it. If we win, Newcastle are out and it's opened up a bit.
I'm hearing a bit of an echo, but
yeah, I am too.
Out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, so am I. I think it's you, James.
What?
It's not. I just muted myself. It's not. Is it you, Lee?
What?
Someone mute Lee.
Such an idiot.
Someone mute Lee and then just leave him.
I'll mute Lee.
Yeah, just kick him out. I'll go next. I would go. I'd go Ramsdale. I'd start Ramsdale in goal. I'd go Tomiyasu left back, Tierney left back, Tomiyasu right back. I would also go Gabriel and Saliba. I would go Elneny if fit, Vieira, and I want to see Smith Rowe central as well. So I'd go Smith Rowe in the middle as a 3. And my front 3 would be through the middle, Nketiah. I'd go, Trossard and Martinelli. So I'd go quite strong as well. I think Lee's team gets battered. And we could say it doesn't really matter. It's a free hit. I think losing 4-0 is
I think it does.
I think Lee's team gets absolutely battered. Even a rotated Man City team, I think batters that team. So I wouldn't go too rotated. Chuck it over to you.
I'd probably go to Turner. I wouldn't mind seeing Ramsdale either. Tierney left back, Tomiyasu right back, Saliba and Kivior centre back partnership. See how that goes. Then in midfield, if Elneny is fit, I'll be going Elneny in the 6. Emil Smith Rowe and Vieira. You know what? Lokonga and Vieira. Lokonga's been a massive letdown every time I've seen him, but
I thought Lokonga as well. But
I think
sorry, go on.
The next 6 months are crucial, and I think we need to see him a bit more and give him a few more chances, and let's see what he can potentially do against a team like Man City away from home, who on the counter, especially, there'll be some space. So Lokonga, Vieira in front of Elneny. Then I'd go Emil Smith Rowe. I just said Martinelli on the left. I'd go Martinelli on the left, Trossard up top, and Marquinhos on the right.
There's two interesting little things that our next Premier League game is after the transfer window closes. So there's potentially another body in for that, which is interesting. And by the time the Europa League comes back, just on the topic of FA Cup and how seriously we should take it, by the time the Europa League comes back, I think, actually, I'm certain we'd have played Man City already once at the Emirates. In fact, we'd have played them twice because of the FA Cup tie as well, but we'd have played that all-important Premier League game at the Emirates. And that will, I think, dictate a lot of what we should do in the Europa League. You know, if we've beaten Man City and maintained anything like this lead, or if they've come to the Emirates and won, and then somewhere along the line the gaps close a little bit more, maybe we start to think about whether it's really worth putting everything into one basket when we've added to the squad and all that, and we'll see what else we add in the rest of the January window. So we've got a lot to learn, I think, before the Europa League comes around. But I would go full strength for near full strength. Why not? I think it's a chance to be competitive, and maybe imagine we go and win. Imagine we go and win there, and then City just start to go, oh, it's not only we can't keep up with them in the league, we've just now couldn't beat them over 90 minutes.
Or not even win, James. What if we go and lose, but we just lose? We push them all the way, and they're thinking, bloody hell, we beat Arsenal in the cup, but just this team is a problem.
And if they destroy us, and then maybe that's a momentum swing. But you know what? I think you've got to take that chance.
Go on, Lee.
Would you take a replay?
No.
No, we don't need it.
Well, I don't know. I don't really care. Why not? I mean, it means we'd have got a draw there, and maybe we've got a chance of beating them at the Emirates. I don't know. But you know when Liverpool and Man City, the rivalry really began. You know, the chasing for the title. They started to play each other a lot. You know, they met in the Champions League quarters. They met in a few cup ties, as they did yesterday last year at Wembley as well. You know, I think you want these two teams battling out across other competitions. I think it just adds to it all. So I'm looking forward to it.
I agree with Touch on that. Yeah, it's a game we just don't need. One thing I forgot to mention actually as well. I find it ironic that the general consensus, just going back to the United game, was that the Old Trafford match, we all agreed that we left Old Trafford feeling quite positive despite losing about where we were going. And I think Man United fans are the same on this game. The United fans were like, yeah, we lost. Yeah, you were the better team. But they had signs and things to clutch onto that believe that in the next 18 months, they will be where we are. Do you know what I mean? I found that kind of symmetry quite interesting. And I actually think, as well as we played it,
Manchester United are Harry Kane away from being a very, very good side.
I think you're right, Lee. But I think we actually play better at Old Trafford. I'm upset. I'm still angry about that loss at Old Trafford. It's really burning me. That defeat really pissed me off. I think we're better.
I know we're wrapping up. Sorry to go back. Sorry. No. But I think because it is an interesting point. You're right that the whole United performance. And I saw it really debated on Big Six as well between Toby and Saeed Turkish, and I think they were both kind of right. And what I mean by that is, Toby was right. Arsenal did actually over the 90 batter United, way more shots, way better chances, way better sort of sustained pressure in key areas. But I think the credit to United, I probably said it best on DR Sports, is I think with Casemiro missing, Dalot missing, a few players, Weghorst leading the line, whatever. I thought, I think United fans are encouraged because Ten Hag was able to deploy a game plan that in a lot of ways stifled Arsenal from playing near their best. And you could see that we had to respond in the second half and get going. And I didn't actually expect that. I thought we'd have control for most of the game. And I don't think we had control in that first half. We had the most shots. And in transition, we were good. But I wouldn't say we had any control in that first half. And that's why...
They carried a threat.
Well, but they did and they didn't. They did in the sense that they pressed and they were able to open up the game a bit. But they didn't really ask that much of Ramsdale. I mean, the big save in the second half. And that was that was it. But the goals are sort of freak goals. I mean, unbelievable from Rashford, and then a really silly second.
Just going on that, I slightly disagree with that sometimes. There was a time when they broke on us, and was it McTominay had a shot and all that. Sometimes that can frighten a team. Think, oh, I don't want to go too gun-ho because they're going to hit you and all that. But we didn't, and I think that's the impressive thing about Arsenal. They thought, well, I watched this against Tottenham. Tottenham come out in the first 5 minutes. We played around them a couple of times and frightened the life out of them, and they went back into their shape. Arsenal carried on doing the things that they thought were good at, despite the threat of Man United and their attacking players. And that's what I think made that performance so much better for me.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Great game of football, I thought it was, you know what I mean? And I'm telling you, Manchester United are on their way back. Make no mistake.
No, I think so too. Yeah.
Mainly because of Ten Hag. I can't rate Ten Hag. Ten Hag is a brilliant manager. I really think he's the problem that we have to face in the next couple of years. He will put together a team that I think will be a title contending team, and then if not next year, definitely they'll be up for it the following year. So,
but in saying that, about him, and everybody's going on, I think he was one of the reasons they lost that game because he went defensively with 20 minutes to go.
They were shattered, though. I think.
Because we're running them ragged. But also, I will have to say, which is the big thing for me, is that when you see people like Bruno, who's a very good player, feigning injury, time wasting, De Gea, what was embarrassing, what he done in the last minute. Even the referee who hates us, like, tell him to get up. Yeah. When you're seeing top teams, and I mean top teams, these, Newcastle as well, I put in this category, teams in the top 4, time wasting to get a point, you expect that from teams down the bottom. But we're getting the teams from the top coming and doing that now. That is the biggest compliment I can give this Arsenal team.
I tell you what, back-to-back weeks with a win on Eric Dyer, Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Christian Romero, Bruno Fernandes, David De Gea. Oh,
yeah,
lovely.
Beautiful.
Get those cigars out, guys.
Well done, Arsenal. They deserve a big up for that. So 3 tricky games have come through.
Brighton away.
4 Brighton away, yeah.
10 out of 12. Brighton away, Newcastle home, Spurs away, United at home.
You're right. We got a big up. That's a really difficult. Before that happened, everyone was like, "Oh, let's see Arsenal now. No Jesus. Big games coming up. United are playing well. Get out of here, man. Light work. Yeah. Let's keep it
beautiful. It's been good since the World Cup. I've enjoyed it. I've had a nice Christmas.
Yeah, we have come back well.
Bit of food and Arsenal winning games of football. Fantastic.
Don't ruin it.
One more player.
Let's reel it back into Man City. Thank you to Jordan for messing up the direction. But
sorry.
What about that table? There's been a change, I believe, in the table.
I heard and then Jordan taking it back to.
Sorry.
Well, I thought we'd just quickly touch on the North London derby and the win at Stamford Bridge as well, mate. Just to revisit.
Look out for Forever Arsenal Extra. Jordan and James go in the last 4 fixtures. Here's the table.
That's a 4-hour podcast.
Come on, Arsenal!
Oh, look at that. It's painful to see.
Lee,
cool game, Turkish, I could easily be on 23 with Lee on 25.
Anyway.
Yeah, James predicted a 2-2. And he was a minute or 2 away. But
what did you all say again?
Me and Jordan went 3-1 and Lee went 2-1.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah,
it only takes a minute.
We all sort of expected
that's my girlfriend says.
Similar-ish game.
Sorry. Anyway, Turkish, you're first.
Listen, I need to just for the audio listeners on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of that. 27 games have been played now. 27 predictions in the bag. I currently lead the way on 27 points. Lee's in second on 26 points. Jordan now in third, clear on 21 points. And James in bottom 4th place, 20 points.
The old stat man. You could write a book about it, could you? Like, I see what if you did no one to bloody buy it.
I wouldn't want to read any of your books, Lee. Bloody hell.
Now, ladies.
They're all pictures.
Cool. Prediction time for Manchester City away in the FA Cup. It's a big one. It's a difficult one. It's a hard one to predict in terms of what the lineups are going to be like. And I've got to lead the way in it. And I'm going to say...
Hang on. Should we write down our scores?
No, don't start changing goalposts.
That'll be for next season.
I can exactly what Turkish is saying. I don't care what he says.
All right.
I want to keep that point.
I'm gonna go with 2-1 Manchester City.
Traitor.
Manchester City.
Traitor.
Yeah, I'm not listening.
I'm playing 3D chess. By predicting a few bad results, I'm now behind Jordan, which means I know what he's going to predict, which means I can now jump the table. So,
Lee, over to you.
2-2.
2-2. 2-2.
I'm going 2-0 City.
2-0 City.
I'm going 2-1.
Yeah.
James, you're going 2-1 who?
To the Arsenal. Come on, boys! Come on! We're going to go to the FA.
Come on, James!
Why not? Listen, FA Cup, bit of fun. Let's have it. Let's go full. That's assuming we go full strength now. So, come on.
We've all got different scores. I've gone 2-1 City. Lee's gone 2-2. Jordan's gone 2-0 City, and James has gone 2-1 to the Arsenal. I'd love nothing more than James to be right, but we'll see how it goes, people. This Friday night.
I actually wouldn't.
Yeah, I would.
I don't mind getting knocked out.
I would. Obviously, if you ask me 4 points out of 6 against them in the league or winning the FA Cup, I'll take the 4 points out of 6 in the league. But football doesn't work like that. So let's just try and get the job done if we can get it done, whilst protecting a few players. But yes, people, that's the predictions. I want you guys to let us know your predictions in the comment section. Have we all got comments of the day ready to wrap up?
Sorry, I forgot about
As we're all bringing it up, people, we've done overtime again today, hour 20 minutes. So make sure you hit the like button, get the likes up to 1,000. As always, people, the last show we did was the first show that broke 100,000 views. So love for the love for the support. Big up everyone sharing it. Big up everyone engaging. More than 700 comments. 90% of those about Jordan, but it is what it is.
Big up all the viewers and listeners. There was an insane amount of comments. So yeah, thank you to all the love and hate that we get. I haven't got a comment this week, but I do want to just say big up Claude. I saw a gentleman in Ealing who was looking at me, and again, I always get scared when people look at me because I'm like, are you gonna rob me? Are you gonna fight me? Do I owe you money? But he recognized that's me from our fantastic podcast. So again, big up Claude, who's a regular watcher of the podcast.
Oh, magic.
Big up Claude. Big up Neil, who I met last week after the Tottenham game, and he mentioned that he watches the show as well. And yeah, we keep it moving, people. Let's get into it. And I'm gonna go first because mine's more for my ego than it is for banter or
do it.
DJ Breeze TV, Turkish, the hardest working man on Arsenal YouTube.
Jeez, come on.
This working. You don't get up on bloody time.
I was going to say 10 o'clock in the morning, get something.
Drag me. I got one more.
What's this one from your mum?
No, this one's from Terry. This podcast and The Big Six are easily my 2 favorite shows on YouTube right now.
Come on. Big up, Terry.
Love for the love.
I'm changing mine now then. Lee, you're absolutely wonderful. From Love Mum.
That's
dinner's ready.
I've got this one. It's from McGray. This show is just brilliant. You guys are all brilliant. And James and Lee had me in tears when they say, who shall not be named said he didn't watch the match.
Not the first time, won't be the last time.
Obviously, James walked off and I turned my telly off.
That
was a yellow card. I can't even fight it. That was a yellow card.
It'd be a red card.
Jordan, I hope you take this. Well, it's from Vito. He says it's the most backhanded compliment. Jordan, the one guy on YouTube that I can count on to let me down. I appreciate the consistency.
That's quality, that one. That's quality. Love it. That's what we want.
I'll take it. I'll take
that.
Go on, Jordan. Wrap it up for us.
I haven't got one. Sorry, I don't have one this week. Apologies. My comment was to big up Claude. But I saw there was like the 700, so I wanted to say everyone that watches the show, big up yourself, man. We enjoy doing it. We enjoy that you enjoy it. So keep it coming, man. Keep it coming.
100%. People, love for the love. Like I said, hit the like button if you haven't already. Leave your comments in the comment section for a chance to get in comment of the day on the next show. The next show will be next week after the Man City FA Cup fixture, before the Everton midday kickoff on Saturday. And it's going to be a very special show because it's the first time we're all going to be together in person recording. So we haven't decided if it's going to be pre-recorded or live yet. I'll talk to the team and see what we can do. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure the notification bell is on, and you'll know exactly when it is and how it's going to be presented. And continue supporting the channel in all aspects. Tactical Insight has come out. Bias Show has come out. Invincibles is due to come out later on this week. I'm doing a supporters club. Chris Hudson back in the building. Sharoy back in the building. Potentially Curtis Shaw back in the building. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure the notification bell is on.
Yeah, just keep Sharoy on that show for me. Yeah, Sharoy can stay on supporters. Yeah, just keep him over there. All right. Just thank you.
And the perfect ending to the show because Jordan's interrupted yet again. So
sorry.
We'll end it like that, people. We'll end it like that. Hit the like button if you've had enough of Jordan. He'll probably get to 5,000 likes this time.
2 million likes.
You're gonna break the internet.
Break the internet. All right, people, we are out. Like I said, love for the love. Continue supporting. A lot of good content coming out thick and fast. We are going to be here next week in person. Make sure you're there, people. Make sure you're there. Peace. We're all out.